if we're seeking validation in a sense that our entire self-worth depends on this validation of others, I think we're losing our center and we create dependencies. We create a dependency in which we might think, I'm only okay if you tell me that I'm okay. That means that I give all the power of validating my worthiness into your hands. I believe self-expression is actually something very natural. I believe that it's something that happens all the time unless we prevent it from happening. I want to say this again. I believe that self-expression is something very natural that happens all the time unless we prevent it from happening. Because I see the world in a way that I believe that life wants to flow through us naturally. And we can decide to surrender to that, to let it flow through us, or we can decide to block it. Welcome to this episode of Stream of Consciousness. In this episode, I would like to share my perspective on the topic of self-expression versus seeking validation. Where is the line? I see that so many people are seeking validation on social media and even analog life. That's why I want to share my thoughts and perspective. So let's get started. Is seeking validation a bad thing? I believe it's totally fine that other people can also say, hey, I'm not sure if this experience that I'm having is totally exaggerated, if my feelings are okay, if I'm okay. Could you please say that it's okay to have this feeling of being sad or angry? Yeah, sure, it's okay. You can have this feeling. It's totally normal and it's fine. I think this type of validation is great because if not, we might get totally lost. If we feel that we're the only ones that are, for example, upset if someone crosses our boundaries and we're like, oh no, this is actually not okay. I shouldn't be upset. I'm not allowed to be angry. It's not okay. We might be creating these stories. We might be creating a world where we feel like we're totally crazy because we think that we're the only people having these experiences because no one validates that this is a totally normal experience. And it's fine to feel that way. So I just wanted to make that clear that validation for me is not a bad thing. I think it's great to validate the experiences of other people. For example, if you think about children, when children come to us and then they're just like very sad and they start crying, and then we can say, I see that you're sad. I see that you're very, very sad. It's like, yeah, I'm sad. And it's okay to be sad. This is an amazing situation, a moment for validating someone else's experience. However, we're speaking about where's the line. If we're seeking validation in a sense that our entire self-worth depends on this validation of others, I think we're losing our center. And we create dependencies. We create a dependency in which we might think, I'm only okay if you tell me that I'm okay. That means that I give all the power of validating my worthiness into your hands. And if you have a bad day, or if you want to manipulate me, you say, you're not okay. This is not okay. And then suddenly my entire self-worth depends on the validation of someone else. And often this comes from a place of insecurity, which is totally fine because all of us, now I'm validating and normalizing, all of us feel and experience insecure. We have this in us. It's the most normal thing. And then this strategy to feel more secure through seeking validation through others, that's, in my perspective and opinion, where it can get a little bit tricky. Because how this relates to living your essence, we can't fully live our essence if we create a codependency where someone else gets to decide which part of our essence is okay and which part of our essence is not okay. You see what I mean? Because all of this for me is about living our essence. And I believe that we can live our essence if we get to integrate that, for example, experiencing all the different feelings that exist, that if we can integrate this, this becomes like healthy fuel for our life and for expressing us authentically and openly. And if we give part of ourselves into the hands of others in the way that they get to decide about us, then this creates dependency. And that's where I would draw the line. So self-expression versus seeking validation. I believe self-expression is actually something very natural. I believe that it's something that happens all the time unless we prevent it from happening. I want to say this again. I believe that self-expression is something very natural that happens all the time unless we prevent it from happening. Because I see the world in a way that I believe that life wants to flow through us naturally. And we can decide to surrender to that, to let it flow through us, or we can decide to block it. So self-expression and creativity, in my view, is something very normal. And we are all creative people because we are an instrument for creation just by being. So I would say if your self-expression comes from a place that feels, maybe what could be a good metaphor, that if you feel like you're a fountain and this energy of creation comes through you, like through your body, through your vessel, through your being, and then expresses yourself, then I believe that's something natural which comes through you. Maybe you want to use a different image, maybe something that comes from above and expresses itself through you. But something like that comes naturally and flows through you. I see this as very natural self-expression. If you feel that it comes with a grasping movement, like I need to create this for you, that you give me something that I don't have, and I need this to be a complete whole human being, then the line has been crossed, in my perspective. So I really invite you to just look very carefully from which place this longing comes to create. Do I create that others after will tell me I'm okay? Do I create because just I feel that this needs to happen? I just need to do this? And how dependent or independent, that's also another interesting part, am I from how the result is being judged? And I find myself very often in these situations where I feel I want that the result will be judged by others as something very great and beautiful. And if not, sometimes it creates this ouch. For example, these children's books. I wrote these 2 books, and it came from a place of, I just need to create this. This just needs to happen. I cannot not do it. It was like a very strong force and power just coming through me saying, you need to do this. And I just followed this call because it felt like someone was sitting on my shoulder and shouting into my ear, create this. So it didn't come at all from a mental, I think it's a good idea, and if I do this, other people will love me from it place. It just came from this, I need to do this. At the same time, every now and then I have this feeling, oh, will people love it or not? If someone says, I don't like it, then it hurts a little bit. I'm going to be true and open about it. It's like, ouch, I put so much love into this. So that's also there. And I also believe it's normal and natural because in this case, I put so much love into it. It's like a being on its own, and I want just the best for this being. And then I feel a little bit hurt if someone doesn't like it. And I think that's okay. At the same time, it doesn't affect my self-worth. It's more like I'm trying to care for a child, like for something that I created. It's like, oh, I want that it's well. You know what I mean? But it doesn't affect me in the sense that I think, oh, I'm a failure because someone doesn't like it. And in other situations, I also experienced that, oh, maybe I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm not able to do this and that. So it's just an invitation to look closely. To look closely, how much validation do you seek from others through certain things that you create? And I think it's a spectrum. I think it's not always completely on or off. I think it's a mixture. And I believe that the path is to just get closer, step by step, to this point where you allow yourself to express yourself freely because that's the natural state of being. Maybe you know Rick Rubin, who's an incredibly famous producer. And he wrote a book, The Creative Act. And it's an amazing book. And he basically says that being creative is a state of being. It's something natural. It's just like a state, a way of living. And that means basically what I described before, that life wants to create itself through us naturally. And we can either attune to that, listen very closely, follow and create, or resist and prevent the creation from happening anyways. So these are a couple of my thoughts on this topic. I hope you find it inspiring. I'm actually very curious to hear what you think about this. This fine line between self-expression and seeking validation. Where do you find yourself? Maybe with certain activities, more in free self-expression, in other activities, more seeking validation. What I want to invite in any case is self-compassion. Self-compassion for the path that you're on. You're already on this path. You're already making steps. And if you can cultivate the self-compassion in a way that you can tell yourself, I love myself, and I love these steps that I'm taking, and I celebrate myself and my courage, I think then you're on a beautiful path to living your essence. I'm really looking forward to speaking to you the next time in the next podcast episode of Essence. And until then, I wish you all the best.